Welcome back to Moby's Kitchen. And tonight we're gonna make a creamy lemon chicken pasta. Now, if you're wondering what this channel's all about, it's all about helping you create recipes at home. So I'm trying to make things that you could easily make at home for your family, for your loved ones, and have an enjoyable meal and a fun experience making it as well. Let's talk about the ingredients for our creamy lemon chicken pasta tonight. We're gonna start here with some white wine. You can use any kind of white wine here. We have kosher salt. We have a fresh lemon, fresh garlic there. We have a shallot tonight, some heavy cream, some frozen peas. You could use fresh, but frozen works just as good. Some olive oil. We have some DiCecco, my favorite pasta brand. We're gonna be using spaghetti for this particular recipe, but you could use your favorite pasta. We have some fresh chicken breast here, some chicken broth or chicken stock, whatever you have. Some fresh Pecorino Romano cheese. Now this is the stuff from Costco. Get the stuff from Italy. Don't chintz on the cheese. Get the good cheese. We have some butter there. And then we have my mixture of salt, pepper, garlic with paprika, which is gonna go on the chicken. And then I've also got just the regular salt, pepper, garlic from Kinder's as well, in case we need to season anything else. All right, let's get all of our ingredients prepped and ready to go. Okay, our first step, we're gonna get some water boiling for the pasta. So we've filled up a nice big pot. Your pasta does better if it has a lot of room, so go with a big pot here. We're gonna put maybe about a tablespoon and a half of salt. You want some nice salty water for the flavor there. We're gonna put that in there, and then it'll boil faster if you cover it. You don't have to do this step, but we'll get that going first. That way it's ready to go when we're ready to start making our sauce. Okay, first step, we're going to mince up some garlic here. So here's a little trick if you haven't seen this before. You're gonna put the blade away from you, put it right over your garlic, give it a little pop. It's okay if it kind of breaks apart because we're gonna be chopping it up anyway. And that'll take the skin right off. And what I like to do is kind of take this little root piece off, move that aside, and then don't cut all the way through, just cut partially the way through. And then and then if you want it a little bit smaller than this, which we do in this case, you just kind of run your knife through it. And you can mince this up as small as you want. It doesn't have to be finely minced or anything for this recipe, but nobody wants like a huge chunk of garlic in their mouth when they're eating pasta. So we're gonna make sure that this kind of helps it somewhat disintegrate in the pan to where it just gives its flavor and you're not taking big bites of garlic. So that'll probably do there. All right, so that's what you want. That's a perfect amount. Okay, so next up, we're gonna dice up our shallots. So we're gonna start, this is very similar to cutting an onion here. We're gonna take this side off here. And what we're gonna do is cut halfway through our root, and we'll see what we have in here. Sometimes the shallots are a little different, and this one looks like a pretty straightforward deal. You're gonna peel that outer layer off. As you can see, it kind of comes in a few different sections, a little bit different than an onion sometimes. And then what we're gonna do is make cuts, not all the way through the root, just kind of get close to the root. We want a nice fine dice with this one here. So just keep these cuts very close to each other. Be careful, kind of hold it together. All right, and then what we're gonna do is come back here and we're gonna cut just small dices here. There you go. As you can see, that's perfect, a nice finely diced shallot. We're gonna do the same thing with the other half. Okay, next up, we're gonna measure out about a cup of our frozen peas here. You can eyeball this. If it's a little more, that's fine too. And we'll just let them kind of sit while we're waiting. And if they thaw out a little bit, that's actually a good thing. That's fine to let them thaw. Okay, now what we're gonna do is butterfly our chicken so we can cut these into thinner pieces. And of course, right when I get the chicken out, Kimber is right here next to me. She's being a little camera shy tonight, but she is always right next to me once the meat comes out, especially chicken. So what I'll do too is I'll trim the chicken and I'll have some scraps, and I just cook the chicken with no seasoning on them in a pan, and I'll put that on her food. So she loves when I make chicken because she gets some of it. All right, so what we're gonna do is see how this part's fatter in the chicken. What we wanna do is try to even this out so you get even cooking. So we wanna take this part off, and it's okay if we have a smaller piece. I'd rather have the even cooking because what we're gonna do at the end is slice it up and put it on top of the pasta anyway. So what you do is you kind of find about the middle spot here, and you just hold your hand and gently kind of run the knife straight through. As you can see, it'll even out the pieces here. And you've got pretty even thickness here. There's a little bit thinner, but this is fine. This will do just fine. And what we're gonna do is take probably 2 chicken breasts, and that'll be plenty of chicken for this whole dish. So we're gonna do this one and one more. Okay, so we've got all of our chicken butterfly. The second piece, the second chicken breast that I cut was super thick, so I actually got 3 pieces out of it. As you can see, this is about the thickness you want here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some olive oil, just drizzle a little bit on each piece. Not too much. This is just gonna help the seasoning kind of bind to it and help it not stick in our pan as much. Okay, we're just gonna rub it in. We're gonna add our salt, pepper, garlic with paprika blend. The paprika just gives it some nice color. Season this chicken well here. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is kind of tap it in, flip it over, do the exact same thing on the other side. All right. Season up high, it spreads better. If you season real close, you get big clumps of it. So try to keep it up somewhat high here. All right. Tap it in a little bit. Our chicken's ready to go. Okay, we're over at the stove. And as you can see, our water's probably boiling under there as it's steaming out. That's ready to go for the pasta when we're ready. But first, what we want to do is saute this chicken off. So we've got our pan that's been preheating on medium heat for about 3 or 4 minutes because we want that sizzle. Our dog's getting crazy in the back. So we're going to add a little bit of olive oil here. Let's do a couple tablespoons, maybe 2-3 tablespoons. And then what we're going to do is make sure that our oil is nice and coated. Since we're not using a non-stick here, we want to make sure the oil's coated on there. And then we're going to take our chicken, and we want to hear a sizzle. If we don't hear a sizzle, we're going to take our chicken back out until we get that sizzle sound, because that's going to create the nice blackened sort of char flavor. All right, let's see. There we go. That's what we want there. Good for now. We don't want to overcrowd our pan. So we're going to let this cook maybe about 3 minutes on one side, and then we'll flip it and do about the same thing. You want to cook your chicken breast to about a 165 internal, but it cooks while it rests. So really, if you take it off between 155 and 160, you'll be fine, because as it rests, it'll continue cooking. Okay, so our chicken's been going for about 4 minutes now on this side, and as you can see it's white. It's cooked halfway, or maybe even a little more than halfway. Our presentation side is going to be our first side, so we want this to look the best. So we let it get the most sort of golden brown char blackened vibe to it. The bottom side is going to be the side touching the pasta. You're not going to see it. So let's make sure this first side's cooked really well before we flip it, and then we'll finish it off. Let's see. Perfect. That has some nice golden brown sort of colors to it. And the pan's releasing it. The pan will release it. It'll kind of tell you when it's time to flip. It doesn't stick to the pan, even with a non-stick pan, when it's ready to go. So that color's gonna look real nice. And what I like to do sometimes is kind of shift. Like this one was on the outside. Let's move that to the middle this time. And it gets some good color on it. And then we're gonna go probably about another 3 minutes on this side, and then we'll be done. Okay, so a couple of these pieces are a tad bit thinner than the other ones, and this is temping at 165. This is temping at like 170, so we want to get that off. This thicker piece in the middle is temping around 135, so we want to keep that cooking. It's a little thicker. That's pretty much done too. 159, 160 is good. So we're gonna get these three off and continue cooking this one. And we also have one other piece that didn't fit that I'm gonna throw in as well. So let's get these center pieces off. And then we're gonna have those to the side and rest. And then I'm going to add this other piece in here. And we'll repeat the process with this one piece and let this piece continue going. We've probably got, I don't know, a couple more minutes. It's a little bit thicker the way I cut it. So, okay, so we've got all our chicken out of the pan here. We're gonna add another about a tablespoon of olive oil. And then we're going to add in our shallot. So they're all out of there. Don't worry about all this stuff on the bottom here that's called fondant. It's gonna be delicious. We're gonna deglaze the pan with the white wine once we get these going a little bit. So we're gonna saute these for, I don't know, about 3 or 4 minutes so they kind of become a little bit translucent. Then we're gonna add our garlic in for that last minute, and then we'll deglaze. Okay, we've been sauteing our shallots for about 3 or 4 minutes here. It's time to add our garlic in. And the garlic will burn, so we wanna make sure that we watch this. You just wanna kind of cook this till it's fragrant, about 30 seconds to a minute. It smells so good in here already. Between the chicken and the garlic sauteing here with the shallot. Okay. It's been about 30 seconds, maybe 30 more seconds here with the garlic. And then we're gonna deglaze here with some white wine. We're using Chardonnay, but any white wine will do for this. We're gonna do probably about a quarter to a half a cup at most here. If you don't want to use wine, you could use the chicken stock here, or whatever, you know, water even works here, but I like the flavor of the wine. And since we're doing kind of a creamy dish, I like to use white wine in this instance. But as you can see, you can scrape all this fond off, that black sort of char stuff. It's good flavor, I'm telling you. You don't want to leave that behind. That's why it's nice to do all this in one pan here. So as you can see, all that steam is kind of the alcohol cooking off, and it's just going to leave the nice flavor of the wine behind. Okay, this is when I like to add the peas in. You give them a quick little saute, but not too long. You don't want to burn these. See, they're still kind of about half frozen here. So some of the water will come off of that and help deglaze the pan as well. All right, so you give about a minute with the peas here. While those peas are cooking, our water's boiling here for the pasta. So we want to cook this pasta till it's maybe a minute before the box says. So this is about 10 minutes for spaghetti. So maybe give it a boil for about 8 minutes or so and check it. So I'm just going to go right from the box in here. Remember, we've already salted our water, which is key. And the pasta will just kind of naturally get soft, and you'll be able to get it all down in there. I know there's a fancy, pretty way to put it in, but hey, we're just cooking at home tonight. It's going to be delicious. We don't have to get too fancy. All right. Okay, our pasta's all submerged. Now we're gonna go back here to our sauce. We've got 2 cups of chicken broth here. That's about a cup and a half. We're gonna start with that. And then we're going to zest our lemon here. So that zest, you want to get one of these microblades right here. These are so handy for this, or microplanes. You just want the yellow part of the lemon. You don't want a lot of the white stuff because it's very bitter. So just kind of go around. I know there's probably better ways to do this, but this is how I do it. Write in the comments below if you have a great way to zest the lemon. So we're going to do about this is a big lemon, so I have a zest of 1 lemon here. Since this is so big, I don't have to be so exacting. That's good. That'll give some nice flavor in there. Stir it up. Let's give our pasta some love here. Make sure it keeps moving around. And we're gonna let this kind of reduce and cook for about a couple minutes here, and I'll be right back with you. So next step, we're gonna take our 1 cup of heavy cream. I'm gonna add it to our mixture here. It's gonna start help thickening it. And then we're gonna grate some fresh Pecorino Romano in here. Now, I love this stuff. I don't think you can ever put too much. This is salty, so we're gonna put this in, and then we'll add a little bit of the Kinder salt, pepper, garlic, but I want to do this step first. Probably going to add like a good half a cup, maybe 3/4 of a cup of this grated Pecorino Romano. This gives good flavor. It's going to help thicken it. What I'm trying to do here is make a nice, thick, creamy consistency without using like a flour or roux or anything like that. So it's a little bit healthier. Okay, there's probably about 3/4 of a cup to a cup in there. Stir this in. You can see all that fond from the bottom. That's such good flavor. Might not be as pretty, but it's gonna taste good. And we're gonna continue to reduce. We're gonna put it on medium-low heat here. Nice simmer. Our pasta's going away. We got about, I don't know, about 5 more minutes with our pasta. Should be ready. And then what we're gonna do is put 2 tablespoons of butter in right now. That'll help kind of thicken up as well. And we may add a little bit more of that cheese. We can definitely add some more on top. And I'm gonna cut a lemon here in half. And we're gonna put a little bit of lemon juice in. I'm doing this just in case there's any seeds that come out, which I can feel them coming to my hands. You just let the juice kind of come through the middle of your fingers here, and you catch the seeds. So this lemon's huge, so half of this lemon's juice is plenty. If you have a small lemon, you can put the whole lemon, but you can see I cut all the seeds that way. All right, we'll stir that in. And we're gonna let this keep reducing here for I don't know, till our pasta is ready to go in. Maybe another 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, so our pasta's got I don't know, about 2 or 3 more minutes to go. I'm gonna reserve a cup of this pasta water. This is gonna help thicken our sauce as well. So you always wanna do that when you make pasta. And we probably won't use all that, but we've got it ready to go. And then a couple more minutes, we're gonna strain our pasta. Our creamy sauce is simmering away here, so it's gonna be delicious. We're almost there. Okay, so I just tasted our sauce here, and it needs a little bit more salt, so I'm gonna add a little bit of this salt, pepper, garlic. Maybe about a teaspoon, but once again, kind of salt to taste here for you. I'm gonna put about a teaspoon in there, and that should do it. Stir that in. Our pasta is almost ready to be strained here and added to the mixture. You can see it's thickened up a little bit, but once we put the pasta in there, it's gonna drink up this, and you'll see how fast it'll start thickening up. Okay, we're gonna strain our pasta. It's been about 9 minutes cooking. All right, we're gonna let that strain out, and then we're gonna add it to our sauce mixture. Let's give it 30 seconds or so to kind of get all the water off. Okay, we're simmering away here with our sauce, and I'm gonna add a little bit more Pecorino Romano to it. Also, it'll help thicken up a little bit. So we're gonna do maybe another 1/4 cup. Like I said earlier, can't put too much of this in there in my opinion. I love this stuff. All right, I'll do it. We're gonna stir this in. You can see it's thickened up. It's been reducing here. It's still fairly runny, and that's the kind of the consistency you want once you add the pasta in there. Like I said, that pasta with the starch is gonna drink this up. All right, maybe another minute or two of simmering, then we'll add our pasta in there. Okay, it's time to add our pasta. Let's start with a good size amount of it here. Maybe not all of it, and let's see how that looks in the pan. All right, it's already just drinking that up. You can see it. Okay, put a little bit more. Probably gonna be good. Okay, we're gonna finish kind of reducing and cooking our sauce with the pasta in there. Our pasta is like perfectly al dente. So it'll continue to cook to where it has just the perfect amount of bite to it. So that's why you take the pasta out about a minute or two early. You can see it's getting nice and creamy. Okay, let's give it about 1 or 2 more minutes here and we'll be ready to serve. Okay, so we're gonna take our chicken now and slice it up. I like to slice at an angle because it's nice to cut against the grain, and the grain of the chicken actually kind of goes like this. So this will help make it more tender to the bite here. All right, so we've got our chicken ready to go, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, my favorite part is coming up. We get to taste test this. We're gonna put a little more Pecorino on top. Pecorino Romano. We put a little lemon slice on top here to make it look pretty. Let's see, we've got this little piece of chicken. I wanna make sure we get a bite that's got all the elements here. All right, need some peas in there. So it's creamy, and that lemon comes through just a little bit. It's not like overpowering. The chicken's perfectly grilled. I mean, the pecorino cheese shines big time here. So make this at home. You saw it's not hard to do. I guarantee your family's gonna love you when you make this one. Thanks for stopping by Moby's Kitchen, and please like and subscribe and stop by for more videos coming up in the near future.